a cup of coffee, sit back and enjoy. It's the Alberta Morning News on 630 CHED, Edmonton's breaking news and conversation station.
10 minutes to 9 on the Alberta Morning News. Alexis Marie Chute is an award-winning author. Her latest book is called Expecting Sunshine, A Journey of Grief, Healing, and Pregnancy After Loss. And she is to unveil the book and attend a gathering at Audrey's in Edmonton on 107th Avenue this afternoon at 2 o'clock. How are you this morning?
I'm great. I'm excited. Thanks for having me.
A pleasure indeed. Tell me the story of this book, which I guess is your story.
Yeah, it is my story. And so I started out as a beautifully naive mother of one child, and I got pregnant again, and that's sort of where my perspective on the world changed dramatically. My son, who we named Zachary, had a random genetic abnormality, and he ended up passing away just a few minutes after he was born. And that one moment is a mark in the sand for me, from being one person to being a new person. They call life after losing a child the new normal. And my book is all about what it was like to try to grieve and heal and rediscover who I was as a mom, as an artist, as a human being after such a devastating loss.
Did you feel guilt?
Oh, absolutely. I think that in our culture we feel technology is so great. We have amazing medical health care, especially here in Edmonton, Alberta. Why would a baby die? Like, nobody had ever talked to me about that in my experience of being a mom up to that point. And so when my son Zach died, it was like, what did I do wrong? What could I have done differently? Was it something I ate? Was it something I did? Was it working? Was it I was too stressed during the pregnancy? There was 1,000 questions, and there was no answer, and of course I blamed myself.
Depression is a natural condition following something like that, I presume, and I hope you had a support group around you that helped you through that time in your life.
Absolutely. I have amazing family and amazing friends, but I think it comes to the core of our culture as people, we don't know how to support after this kind of loss, and we don't know what to say. And so I had so many people who were gracious and supportive, but they didn't know what to do. And for me as a bereaved mom, I didn't know what to do. They would say, how can I help? And I'm just, would be dumbstruck. And so that's something I'm really passionate about, is bringing an understanding to people in general that death is a beautiful part of life, not something to be feared and avoided, but something to talk about openly. And by doing that, we take away the stigma and the fear around it, and it can become a celebration of life instead of something that we push to the side, and it's not in our popular news. So thank you for having me on to talk about this. I appreciate it.
I take it your husband was pretty supportive of you. That's not always the case when a woman loses a child.
Well,
Maybe I phrased that badly, Alexis, because when a child is lost, it is the family that loses the child. The woman may feel it because she carried the baby, but it's the family that lost the child.
Exactly. And so I really struggled after our loss because I didn't understand my husband's way of grieving. And so we had a couple of years where it was really challenging as a couple. We couldn't speak each other's language, so to speak. And he was supportive, but not in necessarily the way I needed. And I don't think I was supportive in the way that he needed. And though we grieved and walked that journey side by side, it did take a long time to get onto the same page. And marriages break up way more frequently after loss. I believe it's like the percentage is 80% of couples after losing a child. And so it is hard, but I think communication is key. And I actually rewrote one chapter of my book for an assignment in my graduate program. I rewrote it from my husband's perspective. I had one teacher say, like, you gotta do this. And I was like, no, it's just the last thing I wanted to do. And yet, I really feel that by slowing down and looking at our experience through my husband Aaron's eyes, it gave me such a beautiful understanding of like the depths of male grief and how men are not supported as much as women, unfortunately.
Yeah. Would you have another child?
Well, I have had 2 rainbow babies, and a rainbow baby is the name given to a child born to bereaved parents. And I have to say that those were the most stressful, 9 months. I can't do math. 9 times 2 is 18, right? I have to say that those are the cumulatively most stressful 9 months of my life, or 18 months of my life. And I think that's, we're starting to talk about loss more, and that's a great first step. But we also need to talk about pregnancy after loss. Like I go through that in my book, is the feeling of everyone saying, oh, thank goodness you're pregnant again, as a big relief that, that we don't have to worry about her anymore. She's moving on. But a bereaved mom and dad, a bereaved family, they never move on and leave their child that passed away in the last chapter. They bring that child and that experience into every chapter of their life moving forward. It looks different for every person, but it's still it's a defining moment, and they never forget that child. Another baby can never replace that child that died.
The fact that the child that's been lost has a name and continues to be a part of the family is reflective of that.
Absolutely. Well, we celebrate Zachary's birthday every year, and we're really open with our living kids about what happened to him and to our family. And I do feel that openness has made them more empathetic and compassionate and understanding of life, and I'm really proud of them. That makes me happy.
We had a piece on this program last week about a condition called phobia, which is fear of childbirth. And after you lose one, I suspect that there is a little bit of that, even for someone who has had a baby.
Yeah, absolutely. I felt extreme anxiety and almost terror about going back to the hospital to deliver the baby. And I write about that in my book, how we got through that. Like, we went and we visited with the hospital and did a walkthrough before, just so I could mentally prepare myself. And I talk about so many different things in my book that some things were helpful, some things were not helpful, but ways to cope and get through that kind of fear so that it can be...
Alexis Marie Chute is an award-winning author. Her latest book is called Expecting Sunshine, A Journey of Grief, Healing, and Pregnancy After Loss. And she is to unveil the book and attend a gathering at Audrey's in Edmonton on 107th Avenue this afternoon at 2 o'clock.